gerade erklärt, dieser Wanderpokal, der wächst über die Jahre. Also da oben haben wir es auch eingegraviert. Also da kommen immer die schnellsten Fahrzeuge mit dem Mann, der das auch umgesetzt hat. Sehe ich gerade, ist der drauf? Ja. Nein, immer nur das Team, Untitled Porsche Zeiten, alles drauf. Und ja, Gegnerhaus an sich einfach auch mittlerweile Kult hier.
Auch Kult und hat auch seine eigenen Fahrer, die schon übergeben wird.
Das stimmt natürlich. Und der steht heute vorne, jetzt will ich es hören. Ich nagel dich auf die Kurve.
Ich lege mich auf jemanden fest für diese eine schnelle Runde.
Hello everybody and welcome along to the top qualifying, as it's been called, single car shootout. You can call it what you want. It's going to decide the order of the front of the field for Saturday's 24 hours of the Nürburgring. Johnny Palmer and Paul Trustwell alongside. We've got an audience as well. Adam Christodoulou and Nick Yellerly are sitting behind us. They've got the best seats in the house, looking at the back of Johnny's head. And we simply don't know what's going to happen in the next hour or so. What we can tell you, JP, is there are 28 cars ready to go for a 2-lap dash around the Nordschleife. 1 minute to go before the first car goes, and that will be the Luca Stoltz driven number 3 Mercedes-AMG GT3.
Got to be said, perfect conditions for this very, very special qualifying session. 28 cars, as you say, and only now is the line becoming complete down the start-finish line, because remember, the cars aren't starting from the pit lane as such. They start on the main straight, and at the head of the order then, the black and red Mercedes from Team Falcon, and Luca Stoltz, as you say, being put forward to be the driver that does the 2 times. Thomas Jaeger, Hubert Haupt and Maxi Buch complete the lineup for Mercedes number 3. This car was already into night qualifying. In fact, the first 2 cars to be released from the line are pre-qualifiers. The next 5, interestingly, and this is just as they've come out of the hat in a random fashion, the next 5 were late entrants, if you like, and the first of those will be the Wochenspiegel Team Monschau Ferrari. But the green flag waves now, and all of a sudden, Luca Stoltz has the Nürburgring 24-hour track all to himself, and there is clear road in front. This is driver, car, and the Nordschleife in isolation.
Going off second, Mathieu Jaminet for Porsche, and the Frickadelli 31 is on its way. Henrik Still for Ferrari, the 22 Wochenspiegel car. That's one of the 2018 Evo cars. It'll be Jelmer Berman for the number 6 Mercedes-Benz squad, who gets flagged off. Should be around about 10-second intervals that these guys go off. There's no mandatory, it's not mandatory to do the second lap, but you do have to go all around the Nürburgring Nordschleife to get back to the start line. And the idea is that by the time you get here, all of these cars that are sitting on the start-finish line have gone. If they haven't, we've got a bit of trouble.
Well, that's just another hazard, isn't it, to add to many, frankly, on this perilous lap. But no, it's all been neatly timed. We've seen this top 30 shootout in the past. There are 2 fewer cars this year, so yeah, as long as nobody stalls on the main straight in front of a large crowd on the grandstand, all should be fine.
Yad Seyfarth took out the number 16 Mercedes-Benz. Simon Trummer in the second of the Ferraris, the 488 and the number 55 car. Then it's the GTR Nismo. Is that the 39? Yes, it is. That's the Christian Menzel car, but that wasn't driven by Christian Menzel. That was Liberati behind the wheel. 911 Porsche. Lawrence Vantour got to be in with a chance here after his performance earlier on in this afternoon's final qualifying session, Johnny.
And I refresh my memory from last year's qualifying. It was Vantour who put the pole position time in last year in the 911 Porsche. That was an 8 minutes 9.105, which was last year's pole position. And of course, the sister car, the 912, went on to win the race, although we had a lengthy red flag period and then 2.5 hours of racing late on in last year's race. But yeah, certainly the Porsche looked very, very strong, but BMWs, we know, are very strong after pre-qualifying for the Rover cars and a couple of the Valkenhorst machines too. And the Mercedes is wanted to be challenged with as well, bearing in mind that's the car right at the front. And we've got 2 nose to tail, which is the number 6 Black Falcon entry and the Get Speed car, the number 16.
Going on up the line, already gone, but we'll give you them. You've got plenty of time, so don't panic. Settle yourself down, because you won't want to move when we get onto the laps that count. Christian Kronis is the driver of the 101 BMW. It'll be Jordan Tresson in the number 100 BMW. It's in the Glickenhaus. Now that's interesting. They put Felipe Fernandez Laser in that car. That's the 705. Lucas Luhr will do the qualifying in the number 8 Porsche. And then I think it was Daniel Kielwitz in the number 11 Ferrari. Who was up after that? Mercedes number 18. That will be Philip Ellis behind the wheel of that one. Yes, thank you.
Philip Ellis, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Fabian Schiller about to go. Who's in your car, Adam? Did you see it? Maro Engel. Behind the wheel of the number 2 Mercedes-Benz. Augusto Farfus in the 42 BMW. Blake Molyneux Stippler in the Audi R8 number 5. Stippler, thank you. Juanado, Arnold, Marciello. That's got to be Marciello, hasn't it?
Gertz.
Gertz,
Maxi Gertz, yeah. Well, he was faster in qualifying earlier today than Marciello's time.
Okay, that's the 48 car, already off and running. 99 BMW. Who have you got for that one, Paul? For Johnny?
Jesse Krohn.
Oh, okay. The Chris Meese car. I mean, who would you have here? Hang on, you've got Chris Haas, Chris Meese, you've got Rennie Ras, and which of the Van der Lindes is that one?
Which car is it?
Sorry, 99 is the next one up.
Oh, is it? Have I missed one out? Okay. No, we've done Jesse Krohn in that one.
Hang on.
Yeah, Jesse Krohn in that one.
Oh, okay, so we...
I missed the Schaffner Schiller Hill car. That was that one.
That's the one we missed, 17.
Yeah, Paltala for that one, I would guess, the 17 car.
No, it's Fabian Schiller.
Oh, good, excellent. Then the Tom Coronel car, the Nismo GT3, that's the 45 car.
Matsuda Tsujio.
7 car, Lamborghini Huracan.
Is in the hands of Marco Mappelli.
12 Porsche.
The 12 Porsche is Matteo
Cairoli. Then the one that's the hardest choice of all, Mies Ras, Van der Linde and Haase.
René Rast.
Leeds, Machiavelli, Pile, Tandy. Tandy?
Macavici.
Philippe Eng, Conor de Filippi. Which one in that car?
Tom Blomqvist.
Excellent. Pierre Caffer, Frank Stippler, or Vervish of Anto.
Fred Vervish.
And starting at the back, just off en route with the Glickenhaus Trophy up for grabs, glinting in the evening sunshine, the 44. Bachler, Bergmeister, Raginger or Werner. Again, which one of those 40 in shoes?
Klaus Bachler.
Right, so we're off and running, and we were talking with the guys here before the cars went off the line about the tactics of this first lap, because effectively you've got the longest warm-up lap that you're ever going to have before qualifying, but presumably it's got to be done at a pace that gets enough energy into the tyres but doesn't completely pagger them before you get back down the start-finish line. And you made the point, Johnny, that coming down the dot, you go, all of that energy that you've got into them just drifts away because you're there for 35 seconds before you come to Tiergarten.
Just going through fresh air, and at that moment, you're not on the brakes, you're just hard on the accelerator, and all the heat you've built up in the brakes and the tyres, I would guess, is just dissipating very, very quickly. Thank goodness there's a reasonably hard stop at the end of the lap into Tiergarten and Hohenrhein. I'm checking the 28 that have made it into qualifying. Do you remember you saw the number 14 Audi on the end of a tow rope?
Came back on a flatbed, actually, when Joe and I were on the balcony here at the Aston Martin Lounge.
That car's not in. And I said at the start of the weekend, that's an incredibly strong lineup, because that's the car that also René Rast is down to drive, Christopher Haase, Marcus Winkelhock. But they're going to have to start the race from 29th or even further down than that. All
right, let's have your calls. Those of you out there round the circuit, listening in on RS1 or RS3, part of the Radio Show Limited Network on the player, or you might be further afield, round the world, listening there, or watching and listening in sound and vision, www.radio-show.co.uk. Use the hashtag N24RSL to @RSL_studio. N24RSL is your hashtag. Who's on pole here? Who do you reckon? And let's see who gets it first before any times are turned. Dappled conditions out on the far side of the circuit, where the trees, of course, are in full leaf at the moment. It's clearly been good round here with enough rain and sunshine to get all of the foliage nice and green and very thick indeed. So you're going to be going in and out of shadow and full sunshine. Always difficult to do. Sun, not well, it's going to get in your eyes at one or two of the places, aren't you, as you're coming around. Here comes the AMG first out of the blocks. The AMG GT3 with Michelin tyres on for Lucas Stoltz. Now, has he got the Mitchies warmed up as he comes through that left-hand kink, flat out in sixth? How long does he hold sixth position? Grounding out as he comes through to the bottom of the hill. Now into the Tiergarten, down through the gearbox. Uses a little bit of the escape road on the left-hand side as he takes the curb through the middle part of Tiergarten with that block paving on top. Now comes to start the lap. Get your gear changes, absolutely right. You'll be listening as well as watching those blue lights on the dashboard. And now the first thing you've got to do is get your braking point for this tough downhill curving entry to turn one. You blow this and the whole lap's gone before you've even started.
Exactly, so important not to overcook it. Oh, a little bit of opposite lock required there from Luca as well, but turns 1 and 2 at the Mercedes Arena, successfully done, and now just another 105 corners or more down towards the left and the right then, and this sequence of corners gets tighter and tighter.
Oh, and he's sliding wide, and he's almost lost it. He has lost it. He has lost it. I was just about to say, you know, people ignore the Grand Prix circuit because we always talk about the Nordschleife. So many corners here. You go into a downhill entry, there's a slightly off-camber turn in, and Stoltz just pushing too hard there, loses the back of the Mercedes. That's just physics. You can't take that much speed into that corner. Don't think he was spinning up the rear wheels there. That was just the back end going loose as he turned in. Turn in, oversteer. For a moment, he looked like he had it saved, but then he's almost drove it into the wall. Much merriment from the guys down in Porsche. Michael Christensen watching that and taking some degree of fun out of that one. Mathieu Jaminet burst onto the scene a few years ago. He's in the Fricadelli Porsche, the red and white car, the number 31 machine. This is a team of all talents as well. And so he will be now the first car that will get out onto the Nordschleife, I think. Or maybe not. Thinking that there is a Mercedes ahead, yeah.
Yes, number 3 car is ahead of him, John. The Lucas Stoltz car, I think, has got going again.
So he's lost half of that gap that he was given at the start. So Jaminet then onto the Hudson back, using all the road to turn in. Such a rhythm part of the circuit here. It's all about momentum and rolling the car through. And Stoltz has been off again. At least he's dropped one of the Michelins onto the very dusty edges of the circuit, and that's dicing as well. As does Jaminet. Rolls right across the block paving there as he heads to the end of the Hudson back now, and that tricky right-left before you drop downhill. And he's now got the Mercedes-Benz in sight. Now, is that a help or a hindrance? He's just got to drive his own lap here, Johnny.
I think the danger is, with Lucas Stoltz far from clean Michelin tyres, you know, if he has another moment partway around the Nordschleife, that could cause real problems for Mathieu Jaminet. And I talked about the clear road that Lucas Stoltz is going to have. Well, yes, that's still the case, but Mathieu seeing that Mercedes away in the distance. Now, I think, well, depending on how this Fricadelli Porsche has been set up, it might be possible to catch the big AMG. Then again, the AMG GT3s look very strong down the tubes as soon as it gets up to top speed, so it might be able to pull away when it gets to the Dottinger Hoek.
Vanter going very quick in the opening part of his lap in the 911 Porsche, back in, what, 6th or 7th car away. That's on the Grand Prix circuit here. Also, the Seifert Mercedes, the 16 car, showing purple times as well. Mathieu Jaminet leading away as through then goes Vanter onto the start of the Nordschleife in that mostly yellow Grello Manthey racing car. Vanter mighty earlier on today and really put a good lap together. With traffic, Johnny, what can he do? Can we get down somewhere near the 8 minutes 10 mark, or even better than that?
Also, good times there from Jan Seifert in the number 16 car, doing an absolute best in the Get Speed car, absolute best through the second bit of the Grand Prix track. So that car, which started 5th on the road, ahead of the Octane 126 Ferrari and the KCMG Nissan GTR of Liberatis. It's Edoardo Liberati starting the 39 car, qualifying the 39 car.
Jaminet, with clear track ahead of him, is beginning now to have that road fill up with the AMG of Lucas Stoltz, who made that early mistake. He will get another lap if he wants it. Of course, single car, not single lap qualifying. There are 2 laps available. And out on the Nordschleife, the helicopter trying to keep up with the fast car. Seifert already on the Nordschleife as well, so he's heading up to the top of Adnar Forest. Sun right in his eyes, and he comes through that long left-hander, dives down to the right-handed corner that leads into the forested section, effectively down the side of the hill. And it's all 4th and 5th gear and keeping the car balanced before you brake very hard for the left-handed hairpin all the way down to second. You take first at the little hairpin down at the bottom of this lot? Second down. Hook the inside, almost you ditch hook it here, trying to get the car to turn and rotate. Short shift to 3rd, 4th and 5th as you charge down the hill towards the bridge. Look for the road on the right-hand side. That's your braking point. Get on the binders and pull it up. There used to be a lovely little point of reference there where there was a change of surface, but the track's been resurfaced there, and now comes up towards where Niki Lauda had his terrible accident before you start to head up through Bergwerk and climb through the other side of the hill effectively, again with trees on one side. Seifert neat and tidy through Bergwerk, just rides the curb on the exit, the left-hand side, and now this series of very quick left-handers. 5th gear, trying to take as little lock as you can so that you're not scrubbing off any of the forward momentum. Meantime, Mathieu Jaminet further round the circuit. Looks neat and tidy. Jaminet heading down towards Brünchen. Big crowd down there in the evening sunshine, Johnny, as he comes through there and uses all of the block paving.
Yeah, just about kept 2 wheels on the asphalt. Does that put him offline for the next right-hander? No, it's pretty good for the young Frenchman. So heading now through Brünchen 2 and on towards Flanscott, and he dropped down through this very fast part of the circuit where the road bends and twists left and right, but it's a case of threading the eye of the needle. Now heading towards the Stefan Belloff S, and it'll be Schwalbenschwanz in the next couple of seconds, leaving the ground. Brilliant sight of the Fricadelli car, out of control and yet perfectly in control for Mathieu Jaminet.
I tell you what, Lucas Stoltz has done a really good job of recovering, because I don't think Jaminet has really closed down very much since they got onto the Nordschleife after Stoltz dropped it on, what, the 3rd or 4th corner of the Grand Prix circuit, lucky not to nose the AMG GT into the tyre barriers. Now, leading on to the long straight, the Dottige Hohe. Easy to get a bit of understeer through the middle part of there. If you turn in just a tiny bit too early, they've then got to come off the throttle. Lucas Stoltz then with the Porsche in his mirrors. Maybe not quite close enough to get any aerodynamic advantage here, as the Porsche is with those yellow 4-dotted headlights coming down to the first of the rises. We're not too far away from where you join on at the tourist laps, with Tiergarten to come, and that scary entry down through that compression into the left, right, right, left. Really got to take the speed through there. Doesn't ground it out though, Johnny, as he comes through. Last 2 corners now for Jaminet.
And a good time again, partway down the Dottige Hohe. That's faster than Stoltz's Mercedes and faster than the car behind, Henrik Still's Wochenspiegel Ferrari 488. So this will be the benchmark, an early benchmark for Mathieu Jaminet at 8:13.231. So bear in mind we were at 8:09 last year for a Porsche, remember, so we might be just a little bit far off that as far as the 2019 balance of performance is concerned for the Porsche. Stoltz is through as well, but slotting between Yamane and Stoltz's time, Henrik still in the Ferrari, 8:17.973. So Jam's lap nearly 5 seconds quicker than the Ferrari behind.
Yeah, and just for reference, Stoltz 8:22, that's how much time he lost with that slow spin, but he didn't nose the wall. If he didn't jump on the brakes, so he won't have flat spotted his tyres. May not have flat spotted his tyres. He went sideways for a long time, but I think he might have got away with that. Seyfarth will be on the Dottinger, is on the Dottinger now, under the bridge, the Bilstein Bridge. Started from well in the middle of the road there, trying to put his little lock again into this car so he doesn't scrub off any speed. That AMG looks exceptionally well planted as he comes through Tiergarten. Just riding the right-hand tyres up onto the block paving there, getting right out towards the end of the Armco, the two-layer Armco on the right-hand side there, comes across the line and goes into second with a 14.6. Those are the opening gambits. Now, where is Vantour? And he's done an absolute fastest in Sector 7. Here he comes now, Vantour across the line. This is looking good. Where's Liberati gone? Vantour's overtaken him, has he? Yes, he has. Vantour, an 11.5, an 11.5, and he had to pass a car. That's extraordinary. So goes to the top. Krohn goes into the 101, goes into fourth position of the BMW. What a lap, though, Johnny, from Lawrence Vantour. Now, has he got anything left in his tyres? Will he go for another one?
I wonder what's happened to Liberati then in the number 39 Nissan, because that car's just not come through at all, and still not. Somewhere on the Dottinger Höhe, got halfway down that straight. So whether that's a puncture, which means that the Nissan is touring back.
No. What number's that car?
Now he goes across the line. And an 8:19.274. Was that just late coming in? Because the sector times look reasonable, actually, for Edoardo Liberati in the KCMG car.
I wonder if his transponder's playing up and they've had to do that manually. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Vantour, let me remind you, an 8:11.567. Who's looking good further back down the field? Maxi Götz in the Mercedes, number 48, looking very good indeed. Götz in the number 48 Mercedes. He's on the Dottinger Höhe now for Mercedes-AMG Team Man Filter. Maxi knows his way around here. Fred Makovecki's got to come through as well. He's a little bit further back around the Nordschleife. Single car qualifying effectively with the cars set off at 10-second intervals live from the Nürburgring with the Radio Show Limited team in the Aston Martin Racing Lounge. Here comes Götz.
By the way, Mara Engel's just gone across the line to go into second position, so potentially a front row start for the number 2 Black Falcon Mercedes, 8:12.203. But now into Hohenrhein comes the bright yellow AMG, the HTP car that is the Man Filter entry, and Maxi Götz will cross the line, go second. So that usurps the number 2 car from the front row. It's an 8:12.1. That's half a second slower than Laurent Vantour. Now onto his second lap.
Very briefly, there was a Schwalbenschwan slow zone, but it cleared very quickly indeed. It was only out for about 20 seconds, and I don't think anybody has actually been disadvantaged by that. That's where Mako is right now, and he's not going quickly. So has he caught the slow zone? I wonder if he has. That's showing us clear now on the track, but there was double yellows out there, so Mako's had to slow. That is really going to hurt his time, and the reason is we've got a slow-moving AMG, Johnny, just coming onto the Dottinger Höhe.
Yeah, I think that's the number 17 Get Speed performance car. So that is Fabian Schiller. Somewhere in the Dottinger Höhe. He started the straight, but he's only about a third of the way down there. So car 17, yes, very slow through sector 3 and hasn't yet gone through sector 7, hasn't yet gone through sector 8. So there were white flags covering that whole area. It's dependent now how much Fred Makovecki eased off the throttle. Knowing Fred Makovecki, oh, you think so?
Yeah,
I was about to say not at all.
Coming through the left-hander before the Kleiner Carousel, he was really eased off. There were double yellows showing there, not sure why. Rotates the car nicely through the middle of the Tiergarten and gets very close to the barriers. It amazes me how close the guys get in that middle part of the Tiergarten section to the end of the Armco on the left-hand side. Through then goes Makoviecki, 10th position and 8.16. BMW, Tom Blomqvist chasing to the line now. Wonder if he's been slowed down again. He's down to an 8.18, Johnny. Some of these guys coming through.
Caught in the caution, and Augusto Farfus in the number 42 Schnitzer BMW says no point in going round again because I'm just going to be delayed. So he has pitted after just one lap at 8.16.358. Did the Grand Prix track and then straight back into the pit lane.
So here's how they stand. Still cars to come through and complete their first lap. It's Lawrence Vantoor for Porsche and Manthey, the 911, leading with an 8.11.567. Half a second the gap back to Maxi Goertz in the Team Manfilters 48 Mercedes-Benz. Then another another tenth of a second back to Mauro Engel. That's another Mercedes-Benz, the number 2 Black Falcon car. Then the second of the Porsches is Mathieu Jaminet in the number 31. That is the Fricadelli car, and Jaminet already well round his second lap, and he's been putting some decent times in, personal best. But Mauro Engel is absolutely flying. So is Vantoor as well. They're putting purple sectors in. This is not over yet. There will be a second lap for all of these guys. And, wow, Jaminet right to the edge of the track, just coming down as he's flat out through Flansgarden. That is so quick through there. And he was millimetre perfect. Now heads to where the yellow flags were. Yeah, look at how much more speed he takes through there. Right up onto the block paving. Dicing with death there. If you hook the edge of that block paving, it just straightens you out and you can't get the car pulled back off the grass, and you have to lift off at that point. Otherwise, it's going to fire off to the left-hand side of the track. He's coming round that triple apex right-hander as the yellow flag, single yellow flag. This doesn't need to be a yellow flag for that car parked in the tourist lap entrance. Single yellow flag. How much will the guys slow down on their second lap? I would say nothing at all. If you've got one in now, you keep your foot in and argue about it afterwards, don't you? Yeah.
I'm noticing, by the way, only 27 cars of the 28 have actually taken part in this session. The car we're missing is the number 11 Wochenspiegel Team Monschau car of Daniel Keilwitz. So he's not even got to having qualified for the top 28. For whatever reason, that Ferrari could not start. So into the final few corners comes the number 30 Fricadelli car, currently 4th, Mathieu Jaminet with one more opportunity. He has done an absolute best through the first sector, and I make it 5 personal bests. Will this be a jump to the sharp end to almost make it a Porsche front row? No, it's an 8.12.781, so he's 1.2 seconds adrift because potentially of that yellow flag. And where did he lose other time as well? Maybe
this is his best time, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is, actually. Yeah, it's an improvement, beg your pardon.
So he stays in 4th position. Yeah. So now let's see what Engel and Goertz and Vantoor can do. Who else is putting the fast sectors in? 55 Ferrari's got a fast middle sector, but it's a short one. Now coming to the line now, Simon Trummer in that 55 car. He's coming out onto the Dottinger. So Jaminet improved, but not his position. Jelmer Berman up to 5th at 8.12.996. The bright green and yellow, the Grello of Lawrence Vantoor, now on the Dottinger as well, with the 55 Ferrari ahead of him. Again, not quite getting the tour here as they crest the rise. I do love this single car qualifying. 2 laps, remember. This has been very impressive. Farfus pulled off after his first lap. Here comes the Ferrari into Tiergarten now. Potential bet. There is a 10 out there. There's a 10.8 out there from Vantoor if he strings it all together. Oh, so close to the edge of the Armco, the entrance to the Tiergarten. And now comes out to finish his second lap. The bright yellow car with the bright yellow headlights crosses the line now and clocks at 8.11.561. Yes, an 8.11.561. So has moved the goalposts a little bit. No, sorry, an 8:12, 6:17. The 8:11 was his original time. My apologies. Still getting used to this timing screen.
So half a second Maxi Goertz needs to find on this lap. And he hasn't set any absolute bests so far.
Engel has, though.
Yes, you're right. In the number 2 car. In fact, there are 4 absolute bests on this lap. And he's only got the Dottinger. This is the easy bit now to home.
4 tenths, 6 tenths, that's 1.1. And then 2 seconds in Sector 7. He took out a Vantour. So he's going to be there or thereabouts. He's going to be very close indeed here. That's an extraordinary run for Maro Engel then in the number 2 Black Falcon Mercedes-AMG GT3. Now, can he get the run to the line? This is the bright orange and grey car. He's going to be somewhere around. He might get a 10 here. There might be a 10. A high 10, but there might be a 10. There is a 10, an 8, 10, 9. A high 10 indeed, but good enough for provisional pole position for AMG Mercedes and for Black Falcon.
6.5 tenths clear of Laurent Vantour's time earlier on. Maro Engel will be utterly chuffed with that effort with, as we said at the time, 4 purple sectors and 5 green sectors through the same lap. He must have just got the bit between his teeth and no hint of traffic up ahead, despite him doing that sort of speed.
Well, Vantour lost the chance of improving his time in the 7th sector. He was 2 full seconds slower than Maro Engel there. 2:26.5 for Engel, 2:28. Goertz up to second. Matty Goertz to second. Sorry, Johnny.
No. So that's a Mercedes-AMG GT3 front row. And had he been 0.2 of a second quicker, that would have been better than Maro Engel's time. But 0.137 of a second splits them.
This is very, very impressive from the AMG teams. Just to follow up what I was saying, Vantour lost the chance of that pole position in Sector 7. Did a 28.5 against a 26.3 that Goertz has just done and a 26.5 that Engel did.
Keep an eye as well, John and Johnny, on Fred Macavici in the number 1 Porsche. That's also going pretty rapidly.
Maybe not quite quick enough for pole position. Ooh, I don't know. Just doing a quick bit of base 60 maths to 3 decimal points in my head. It's never an easy thing. René Rast is on the long run for home. Get a book out, read a chapter. Coming back towards us. René Rast then in the 29 Audi. Monteplast by Land's car. And René will improve his position. He's sitting in 23rd at the moment. His best at an 8:19.6. There's at least 2 or 3 seconds to come from that, but I don't think it's going to put him in the front 2 rows. I'll stand to be corrected as he makes the drag race for the line. And here he comes across the line now, and Rast jumps up to 15th position, an 8:16.0. So did find 3 seconds there. Now, who have we still got out there? Tom Blomqvist coming round for BMW. Already at 8:05, and he's dashing for the line.
It's a 6th. Yeah, sorry, Paul.
Macavici up to 6th with an 8:13.588.
So in outside of row 3. I'm just going to get a quick word before the go, Paul, if you don't mind. Can you just throw the headset over to Adam Christodoulou there as the guys are coming in?
Fred Verviche to 4th position in the number 4 Audi. So Mercedes, Porsche, Audi, Porsche, Mercedes is the current top 6.
Adam Christodoulou, Nick Yellowley have been watching, sitting behind us here. Adam, that was impressive by your Mercedes-Benz competitors. And out there, they're Engel and Goertz 1st and 2nd, but my goodness me, they didn't leave much on the table there, did they?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, what a lap. A bit jealous. I'd have loved to have been out there myself. Of course, it's very rare that we get the opportunity to go in two laps with no traffic. But yeah, obviously, you put it all together, put it all on the line, and yeah, great result for AMG.
Yeah, and your teammate on pole, that's made you very, very happy indeed. How difficult is it when you've done all the Nordschleife? So we saw that mistake early on for Lucas Stoltz on the Grand Prix circuit. Easy to do because everybody thinks, well, it's only the Grand Prix circuit. But then you have all of that concentration on the Nordschleife, all that 4th and 5th gear stuff. And then you're on the Dottinger Hohe for what seems like an age before some of the most committed corners that you have to come out of the Tiergarten at the end of the race. You can't let yourself go to sleep there.
Well, yeah, like, of course, you come in flat out down the straight, but it allows time for the tyres to cool down, and sadly, it just looked like it just caught him out as the 4th corner on the lap. Of course, it's slightly off camber there, and, yeah, I don't know whether it just snatched a gear or something, but he just... it's a pretty impressive drift. Didn't quite keep it on the tarmac, but...
And at the end of the lap, when you come into that Tiergarten section before you come back onto the main straight, how close are you to that Armco barrier on the left-hand side before you sweep across?
You're aiming for it. Like you're trying to open up that final corner as much as you can. So, of course, if you don't go close to it, then it just makes the final corner tighter, and it's, of course, the last, like, 500-600 metres to the line, which can be the crucial difference. Like, if you look, there's a 10th, basically, between Guts and Maros, so obviously they were pushing that thing to the limit. So,
you have to go and have a look at the left-hand side wing mirror, see if it's got a scrape on it.
Exactly.
Throw the headset on, Nick, thanks, Adam Christodoulou, always welcome in the booth here. Nick Yellerly, welcome. Welcome to the Aston Martin Live Lounge and to our qualifying coverage. What about that then, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've been here watching it live, so it's pretty impressive. Obviously, we're P13, so we've got some work to do.
How much does it mean, really? We've had fun watching that, and being at the front at the beginning, at least, gives you an advantage because you've got all of probably a lap and a half before you have any traffic. But after that, it's traffic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does mean a lot to be on pole, I'm sure, for the first couple of hours. But from the 6-hour experience, we didn't qualify too well at the 6 hour, and we still managed to come through and win the race. So, you know, we've always got every chance in a 24-hour race. We know everything can happen. So, yeah, starting at least inside the top 15 is a good start.
And just echoing what Adam was saying there, how good must it be to get a couple of free laps out here? It's like, you know, it's like when you put Forza Motorsport on time trial. You've got the place to yourself, effectively.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you just get, say, a couple of sectors free with only overtaking a couple of cars down the straight, the place is just magical. So, yeah, a dream to get to do this, you know, shootout. Maybe next year will be my turn, and yeah, I just can't think of any better feeling than flying around here in a car.
I wish we could show you the look on Nick Yellerly's face. He's already getting himself excited. Adam Christodoulou's made his way out to the Aston Martin Lounge to congratulate his teammate. Have a good one and be safe, Nick, won't you?
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Nick Yellerly joining us here.
How good
live.
is it to have 3 West Midlands lads all on air together, though?
Yeah, you're gradually taking over. We used to think this was Radio Mackham with me and Joe, but it's Radio West Midlands. Oh, now there's an idea. There's an idea. Radio West Midlands, Radio WM.
Radio BBC WM.
Yeah.
What a great name for a radio station.
Maro.
Thank you, Nick. See you later. I'm sure he'll pop up again later on in the broadcast.
He will.
Excellent.
So let's just quickly recap on what we've just seen. Let's start with the people who had problems. Daniel Kajlovic didn't get to the line, Johnny, so we didn't see the 11 car.
Ah, okay. Well, I don't think he even got in the session, frankly. There are no times, no sector times.
Wasn't even on the grid, I don't think he...
Sorry, I mean, he didn't get to the start. He didn't get in the starting lineup, actually, is what I should have said.
And there's obviously a story there, because I don't know... did we see in Q2 a problem for the number 11 relatively late on?
Not that I can remember, no, Johnny.
I'm probably conjuring that up then, knowing that Daniel Kajlovic didn't make... the session. I'm pretty sure there was a drama for the number 11 Ferrari, and it had to be towed back to the paddock. I'm going to have to check that, but that would certainly answer a question. We need to go and chat to those Wochenspiegel Team Monschau guys, though, to see what the issue is, and presumably it's going to be sorted overnight in time for the warm-up bright and early tomorrow morning.
Fabian Schiller in the Mercedes, ground or hold halfway down the Dottinger Hohe, and the yellows. I'm not sure double yellows were required for that. The white flag would have done from a slow-moving car, unless he'd been off the track and clanged it. But he was a long way further on before... Who was it? It was Fred Mako, wasn't it, who came upon those double-waved yellows when the screen in front of me was telling me that slow zone had been lifted. Jordan Tresson didn't get a really representative lap here, 22.6. for Jordan Tresson in the BMW. Matsugo Sugo in the Condor Racing Nissan, next up in 25th. Then Lucas Löhr, Iron Force by Ring Police Porsche, 24th. 23rd, Hendrik Stiel for Wochenspiegel in the Ferrari. 22nd position, Edoardo Liberati. Something went odd on. We thought that might have just been an issue with his transponder, because he seemed not to have come through, and then he appeared further around the track, and we don't have a great view of the start line as we used to have.
I know Laurens Vanthoor was fast in that session.
Didn't overtake him.
10 seconds to make up to overtake the KCMG Nissan. I thought it was either high drama for Edoardo Liberati on his lap, maybe a puncture, or it was just that the transponder didn't trigger, and then all of a sudden he was put in manually by the timekeepers, so I think that was more of a glitch.
Top of the shop then, two Mercedes, the 2 and 48, then Porsche 911, then an Audi, 4th position. And when we've seen Audi recently, I think they'll be happy with that, Paul, because when we were watching the qualifying race, I think the top Audi was 11th or 13th position or something like that.
Exactly, but I don't know. These are great times, but you don't quite know what it means for the race. You do know that it's a very fast car, therefore. I think, yes, they are impressive. What is kind of more unimpressive is best BMW, which everyone was saying coming into this event, one of the favourites, and Christian Krognes in the 101 car, the fastest BMW, down in 13th place only, ahead of both of the 99 and the 98, the Rover Racing cars, which ended up 20th and 21st places. And the Schnitzer BMW was quicker than both of the Rover Racing cars as well. So, I mean, Audi, yes, with one car up there at the top, but again, not so many in there.
Porsche and Mercedes really dominating the top 10. A great run for Simon Trummer in the 55 Ferrari, getting into the top 10. So he'll start from the outside of the 5th row. The Lamborghini in 11th, inside of the 6th row. That's a pretty good run as well for Matteo Mappelli in that car. Marco Mappelli in that car. So, all right, 19th for the SCG, the 705. They might have hoped to have had a little better than that, but an 8:16.9, that's not a bad time.
I think it's an indication, that, John, of how much GT3 racing has developed, because it wasn't that long ago. I mean, this is the Glickenhaus Trophy, and the reason it's the Glickenhaus Trophy was in 2015, I'm going to say, I'm not entirely sure, was when a Glickenhaus was on pole position. Yeah. And the SC003 has kind of had its day in the sun, it would seem, but it's fundamentally the same car, and now only qualifying 19th, whereas it was on pole a few years ago.
I had a couple of people absolutely saying that there was a Wochenspiegel car the Wochenspiegel car was on the back of a tow truck earlier on, so that may have had mechanical ailments. Thanks to everybody who tweeted in hashtag N24RSL warm up, and then just one more race. And this weekend, as far as we're concerned, thanks to Adam and to Nick for popping in, to Paul and to Johnny. I'm John Hindhaugh. Joe Bradley's been with us today as well. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage of qualifying for the ADAC Nürburgring 24 hours. Kesco back in the UK. And we'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow. Check www.radio-show.co.uk for the schedule. It's RS1. It's at the bottom of the homepage. And it's so clever, it will auto-convert to your browser time zone. I wish I could get my brain to do that when I move around. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye for the Nürburgring.